Cuttle is one of my favorite card games. It's a combat card game with a feeling very similar to Magic the Gathering, but it's played with just a standard deck of 52 cards. Unlike Magic the Gathering, it's not a deck building game. It has a very similar feeling to like chess, where it's like the strategy, but it's with set amounts of pieces, and like there is still the card drawing aspect, but you don't know when or how or what you're going to get a certain card. I am fascinated by playing cards. It's going to be a whole rant. You can skip to this time if you want to just go back to Cuttle, but it's just, playing cards are so cool to me. The design of the cards and how they're everywhere really fascinates me. All over the world by this point, there are playing cards that are considered standard that so many different kinds of games are played with, but with these same pieces. Like, it's fascinating to me that this old corner table in my house has this deck of cards that I can just use to play a game just like I've been playing with my friends in their house and just anywhere across the world. Something about the red and black and the design and the patterning on the back, it's just really, really cool to me. I love how both ubiquitous they are. Like, I love how they're everywhere. Everyone has a set. They're super cheap to get. I love things that are accessible to tons of people. I have so many memories playing different card games. I think it's really cool that we can still play poker hundreds of years later, and it's the same rules and it's something that's familiar, that we all know. The gameplay feels like a part of human culture. There are so many card games throughout time using these same little pieces that work in really cool ways. So, as I've just gotten done saying, I really like playing cards, but I also like fantasy. So of course this meant that Magic the Gathering called to me. My first introduction to Magic was probably about when I was in elementary school. My friend came over, he showed me a bunch of his Magic cards, he gave me a few extra ones. We just looked at the art and thought that the art mechanics were really cool in theory, but I don't think we had enough cards, and especially not enough lands, to actually play the game. Then when I was in Boy Scouts, I would be around the edges of seeing people play Magic while I was out on summer camp trips, but again, it just didn't really appeal, and I wasn't even really a spectator. I remember I looked up how to play, but I didn't really ever start playing. I think it's just the idea of fully buying in and getting a deck never really fully appealed to me. I was into games like Egyptian Rat Screw or Speed though, and those used just regular playing cards. I didn't really fully buy into Magic the Gathering until I was in college. A couple of my friends brought me over to a draft night, and I fell hard. I got a Commander Precon, some nice sleeves, a deck box. I was fully bought in, and then I still didn't actually end up playing. I was overwhelmed by all of the strategies and deck building and the ideas for it. There was so much scope that I didn't know where to begin, and I fell hard, but I was paralyzed by choice. For a couple of years, that Precon sat hardly touched, and I didn't really use it. And so that is when I decided, I'll just sell these cards for a little bit of extra money. And right when I sold those cards, so many creators that I enjoy started talking about it. Before I knew it, so many of my favorite creators had either started playing Commander or talking about playing Commander, and I felt that same itch and call to play Magic again, right when it was too late. I just graduated college, I hadn't found a job yet, and all the people that did play Magic had gone somewhere else. None of my friends back home played it, so I would not only need to buy myself in, but find a way to buy in everyone else. That's when I discovered Cuttle, or rediscovered Cuttle. I first found it a few years before when I was looking to see if anyone had made rules to play Gwent with just standard playing cards. I started with this because Gwent didn't have any physical cards. At least not yet, they might have some now. And that's when I first heard people talking about Cuttle as a similarly strategic card game played with only 52 cards. Cuttle itself actually has a pretty murky history. The earliest source is a now defunct website FAQ by Richard Sippy. With the email left at the bottom to contact him more, now defunct, that original source is now gone. And most rules online draw their first sources back from that first FAQ. According to that FAQ, Richard had been playing Cuttle since the 70s, well before Magic was invented. Richard Garfield, the designer of Magic the Gathering, has since found out about Cuttle and praised it for its own design. He has no memories of it personally, but he believes that it's very likely they had some kind of similar inspiration. I found this card game played with a standard 52 deck of cards that could satisfy that same strategic desire that I wanted. And I could much more easily play it with all my friends. And it's worked out really well. I've got a friend who's kind of into Magic, and he immediately fell in love with it. We played 15 rounds. They're pretty short rounds, but still, we played 15 rounds that first night. A friend of a friend had just gotten back from a Pokemon TCG tournament, and I tried to introduce him to it, and just by using that same kind of card game strategy, he was able to wipe the floor with me, even though I've been playing for a few months, and that was like his first game. And I think that's really cool. It shows to me the depth and complexity that this game can have. It satisfied that strategic itch, but still allowed us to play with just cards that we already had. And it's not just me and my friends, but there's actually a cult following online community for the game. One of the best rule documents that I found online trying to reference the rules was made from a Reddit post by Aleph1. Since that first Reddit post, not only have they gone on to make a Discord channel where people can meet up and play the game together, but they've made an entire website that's capable of doing it. It's got a fantastic looking list of the rules that's easy to reference, and it lets you play the game long distance. That online website has been huge for me. It's part of why I love Cuttle so much. When I graduated college, my girlfriend's a year behind me, so we had to go long distance. But we were able to keep feeling connected through playing Cuttle together online. So now you know why I'm so fascinated by it, and why I think you should play it, because it's an excellently rich game with pieces that you probably already own, and it's a lot of fun. So, how do you play? Well, first you start off with the dealer, dealing 6 cards to themselves and then 5 to their opponent. This is just kind of how it usually shakes out. A person with 5 cards, whoever they end up being, goes first. On your turn, you can either play a card or draw a card. When you play a card, you can play it for points, you can use a card for its effect, or you can use a card that's worth points to scuttle a card. Cards are worth their value, aces are worth 1, and then face cards aren't worth any points. If the draw pile's empty, you can't draw, so you'll just pass. Scuttling is very important. It's almost the name of the game, and I don't know why it isn't. You can scrap an opponent's point card from the board with a point card from your hand that's of a higher value, or the same value but of a higher suit. Suits are ranked in reverse alphabetical order, with clubs being the weakest and spades being the strongest. The point of the game is to reach 21 points before your opponent. Now let's get into all the cards and their effects. The ace is worth a whopping 1 point, and it's much more useful for its effect to wipe all the points off the board, both yours and your opponent's. The 2 has a couple of different effects. On your turn, you can use it to destroy a target permanent card. The face cards and the 8 are permanent effects. Or, on your opponent's turn, after they play a card, you can use a 2 to counter the effect before it happens, and it's worth 2 points. You can use a 3 to look through the discard pile, reveal a card, and draw it to your hand. The 4 just makes your opponent discard 2 cards. The 5 is a little interesting, actually. The original rules just had it so you draw 2 cards, just like how the 4 makes your opponent discard 2 cards. However, like I've said, Aleph1 has made a Discord community around this game, and they're actually changing it a little bit, and made a variant rule that instead of only drawing 2 cards, you can discard a card and then draw 3. They playtested this for a little while and people liked it, so that's the official rule on the website. Just like the ace wipes all the points off the board, the 6 wipes all the permanents off the board. It is an incredibly clutch card. Once your opponent is set up, it is very hard to clear their board. The 7's one of my favorite cards. I just think it's a lot of fun. It's a total Hail Mary. Once you play it, you reveal the top 2 cards of the deck, and you must play one of the cards, and then the other one goes back to the top of the deck. I find myself keeping one just in case I find myself completely backed into a corner. The 8 is interesting because it acts like a face card, or a permanent. It's the only number card to have a permanent effect. While it's active, your opponent must play with their hand showing. The 9 is interesting. You play it and then the target card is returned to its controller's hand. A lot of people have added the blurb that your opponent can't just play that card right back when it's their turn, which didn't actually exist in that original FAQ. Another effect that I've thought of for it is putting on one of my cards to bring it back to my hand before doing a board wipe. There's a variant I've seen online which I kinda like, where instead of sending it to your opponent's hand, it sends it to the top of the draw pile. So then they can either spend that turn drawing that card back to their hand, or you can get it on your next turn if they don't. The 10 is awesome. The 10 has no specific one-off effect. Instead, it's just worth a lot of points, and as a result, can scuttle almost any card. And then the 10 of spades can scuttle any card. The jack is a lot of fun. It lets you steal a point card and take it to your side of the board. If a jack is played on that jack, or that original jack is destroyed, the card gets sent back. The queen goes crazy. It protects your board from all one-off effects that target a single card. It doesn't protect itself, but it does protect other queens, so 2 queens can protect each other, making your board practically invulnerable. Your board is still vulnerable to wipe effects like the ace or the 6, and since scuttling isn't considered a one-off effect, it does nothing to protect against that. The king is simple and pretty fun. When you have a king on your board, it reduces the amount of points you need to win. Having one king on your board takes you down from needing 21 points to needing 14 points. 2 reduces that to 10 points to win. 3 kings reduces it to 5. And then if you're able to collect all 4 kings, you win automatically. And yeah, that's Cuttle. I really like it. It's a fun strategic game with cards you probably already own. It's got a great competitive community. The Discord has been endlessly helpful. It's become a game that's really important to me and that I really enjoy. I'll have links in the description to the website where you can play Cuttle and find the rules. There are variants for having 3 or 4 players. It's a really great game that I'm really passionate about, and I think you should give it a try.